6 months ago, my mechanic told me I needed 4 new tires. He pointed at the sidewalls and showed me the fine cracks running across the rubber. Dry rot, he called it. He said the tires were unsafe and quoted me $840 for a new set installed and balanced. The tread on those tires still had over half its life left. The tires had less than 20,000 miles on them. But the sidewalls looked old, and he said cracked sidewalls meant the structural integrity was compromised. I told him I would think about it. I went home, pulled up the tires on my jack, and looked at the cracks closely. They were surface cracks, fine lines in the outer layer of rubber, maybe a 1/16 of an inch deep. No cords showing, no bulges, no deformation. Just dried rubber that had lost its flexibility and started cracking on the surface because it had been sitting in the sun on my driveway for 3 years. I went to the pharmacy and bought a 4-ounce bottle of pure castor oil for $2.90. I cleaned the sidewalls, rubbed the oil into the cracks with a rag, and let it soak overnight. The next morning, the rubber was darker, softer, and the fine cracks had closed. Not gone, but closed. The rubber was flexible again when I pressed my thumb into it. It felt like rubber, not like hard plastic. That was 6 months ago. Those tires are still on my truck. The cracks have not gotten worse. The rubber has stayed flexible through a full winter and into spring. I saved $840 with a $3 bottle of oil. But here is what should make you angry. My mechanic knew those tires had plenty of tread left. He knew the cracks were surface-level cosmetic dry rot. And he still told me they needed to be replaced, because that is what the tire industry has trained every mechanic and every shop to say when they see cracked sidewalls. Replace, not restore. Replace. Because replacement is an $800 sale, and restoration is a $3 bottle of oil the customer applies in their own driveway. In the next 18 minutes, you are going to learn 3 things. First, the exact oil, where to buy it, and the science of why it actually restores dried rubber instead of just making it shiny for a week. Second, the step-by-step application process for tires, wiper blades, door seals, belts, gaskets, and any rubber component that has dried out. And third, the story of how rubber conditioning was standard maintenance through the 1940s, how the industry killed it, and how much money they have made convincing you that dried rubber means dead rubber. Stay until the end, because there are 5 mistakes that will waste your time or actually damage the rubber, and one of them involves a product you probably already have in your garage that you should never put on rubber. You are driving down the highway on a Tuesday morning and the wipers are streaking. They are chattering across the windshield instead of gliding. You can barely see through the smearing mess they are making. Those wiper blades are only 8 months old. You bought them at the auto parts store last fall for $22. They worked great for 3 months and then started degrading. Now they are useless, so you go back to the store. You buy a new pair. Another $22. You install them. They work perfectly. For about 4 months this time, because it is summer and the sun and heat are breaking down the rubber faster. By October, they are streaking again. Therefore, you try buying premium blades. The silicone ones for $36. They last maybe 6 months, which is better but still means replacing them twice a year at minimum. Over 5 years, that is somewhere between $200 and $360 on wiper blades alone. But your wipers are not failing because the rubber is worn out. They are failing because the plasticizers in the rubber are evaporating. The rubber compound used in wiper blades contains chemical additives that keep the polymer chains flexible and supple. When those additives evaporate, which happens naturally through exposure to heat, UV light, and ozone, the rubber becomes rigid. Rigid rubber cannot conform to the curved surface of a windshield. Therefore, it skips, chatters, and streaks. And the worst part? The rubber itself is fine. The polymer structure is intact. Only the plasticizer is gone. Put the plasticizer back and the blade works again. But nobody at the auto parts store will ever tell you that, because a customer who restores their wiper blades is a customer who does not buy new ones every 6 months. That is not just wiper blades. That is every rubber component on your vehicle and in your home. Tire sidewalls, door weather stripping, trunk seals, belt drives, O-rings, refrigerator gaskets, washing machine door seals, garden hose fittings, all of them dry out for the same reason. All of them can be restored the same way. And this is where the story takes a turn nobody expected. In the 1880s, when the commercial rubber industry was still young, manufacturers used natural oils as plasticizers in their rubber compounds. Castor oil was one of the most common. It was cheap, it was abundant, it was chemically compatible with both natural and early synthetic rubber, and it produced flexible, durable products that lasted for decades. Rubber goods from the late 1800s and early 1900s, bicycle tires, industrial gaskets, machine belts, were designed to be periodically re-oiled with castor oil as part of normal maintenance. It was standard practice, like oiling leather. Through the 1920s and 30s, as synthetic rubber compounds became dominant, the industry shifted to synthetic plasticizers, primarily phthalate esters, because they were cheaper to produce at industrial scale. These synthetic plasticizers worked well initially, but they had a critical flaw that the manufacturers understood from the beginning. They evaporated faster than natural oils. Phthalate plasticizers migrate to the surface of the rubber over time and volatilize, especially in heat and UV exposure. This is what you smell when you get into a hot car and notice that new car smell fading over the years. That smell is plasticizer leaving the rubber and vinyl components. Hold on, because what happened next changes everything. The rubber industry realized that faster plasticizer evaporation was not a problem to solve. It was a feature to exploit. A rubber product that maintains flexibility for 30 years is a product you buy once. A rubber product that dries out in 3 to 5 years is a product you replace. Multiply that by every tire, every seal, every belt, every hose on every vehicle and appliance in every household, and you have a recurring revenue model worth hundreds of billions of dollars globally. The practice of re-oiling rubber with castor oil or similar natural plasticizers was quietly dropped from maintenance recommendations. Owners' manuals stopped mentioning it. Mechanics stopped learning it. The concept of rubber conditioning as preventive maintenance disappeared from consumer awareness entirely. Instead, the industry introduced tire shine sprays and rubber protectant products that coat the surface with silicone, making the rubber look new for about 2 weeks without doing anything to replace the lost plasticizers underneath. Those products are pure cosmetic theater. They make the rubber shiny on the outside while it continues to die on the inside. The raw compound that actually restores rubber is sitting on a shelf at every pharmacy in the country. Nobody told you because there is no money in telling you. So let me show you exactly how to do this. So the next time a mechanic points at your tire sidewalls and says you need new rubber, you can smile, nod, and go home with $3 and a rag instead of an $800 receipt. The compound is castor oil. Pure, cold-pressed castor oil. Not castor oil blend. Not castor oil mixed with fragrance or other ingredients. Pure castor oil in a clear or slightly yellow liquid. You will find it at any pharmacy, any grocery store health section, or any beauty supply store for between $2 and $4 for a 4-ounce bottle. That single bottle is enough to treat all 4 tire sidewalls on your vehicle, with enough left over to do your wiper blades, your door seals, and the gasket on your refrigerator door. Step 1. Clean the rubber surface thoroughly. Use a stiff brush and plain soapy water to remove all dirt, road grime, brake dust, and any silicone-based tire shine product that may be on the surface. This step matters because the castor oil needs to penetrate into the rubber, not sit on top of a layer of silicone or dirt. If you have been using tire shine spray, you may need to scrub harder because silicone is designed to resist removal. Rinse with clean water and let the rubber dry completely. Step 2. Apply the castor oil directly to the rubber surface with a clean, lint-free rag. Work it into the rubber using circular motions with firm pressure. You are not wiping it on. You are massaging it in. Think of it like working moisturizer into dry skin. The oil needs to contact the rubber surface long enough and with enough pressure to begin migrating into the polymer matrix. Now let me ask you something. How many wiper blades have you bought in the last 5 years? How many times has a mechanic told you your tires need replacing because of sidewall cracks, when the tread was still fine? Add up those costs. Wiper blades at $20 to $40 twice a year. Tires at $800 because of cosmetic dry rot. Door seals at $60 each. That money went to replacing parts that were not dead. They were just dry. Step 3. Let the oil sit on the rubber for at least 2 hours. For severely dried rubber with visible cracking, leave it overnight. During this time, the castor oil molecules are migrating into the polymer matrix through the same pathways the original plasticizers used to occupy. The oil fills the gaps between the polymer chains, restoring the spacing that allows the chains to flex without fracturing. You will see the rubber darken as it absorbs the oil. On old dried tires, the difference between treated and untreated rubber is visible within the first hour. The treated section looks wetter, darker, and when you press it with your thumb, it gives instead of feeling rigid. If you are finding this useful, hit subscribe. Every video on this channel shows you something the auto or home repair industry would rather you never learn, and this one might be the most expensive secret they have been keeping. Now, let me show you the result. Step 4. After the dwell time, wipe off any excess oil from the surface with a clean rag. The oil that is absorbed into the rubber stays inside. The oil sitting on the surface would attract dust and dirt if left on. Buff lightly until the rubber has a clean matte finish, not a shiny or greasy appearance. For badly dried rubber with significant surface cracking, repeat the entire process 3 days later. 2 applications are usually enough for moderate drying. 3 applications over a week can restore rubber that most people would consider ready for the trash. After treatment, the rubber should feel noticeably softer and more flexible than before. Surface cracks will appear tighter or closed entirely. The rubber will look younger and darker. I mentioned my truck tires earlier, the ones my mechanic wanted to replace for $840. Those were the first thing I ever treated with castor oil after my Uncle Ray, who spent 30 years as a fleet maintenance supervisor for a trucking company, told me about it at Thanksgiving dinner 3 years ago. Ray said every old fleet mechanic knew about castor oil on rubber. He said the big trucking companies used it routinely on trailer door seals, mud flaps, and suspension bushings to extend service life. But it was never passed along to consumer mechanics because it cut into parts replacement revenue. Ray is 74 years old and still uses castor oil on every piece of rubber on his personal vehicles. His 20-year-old lawn tractor still has its original tires. The rubber is soft, dark, and crack-free. 20 years in an open-sided shed in Ohio. My own wiper blades are the other proof point. I treated a set of conventional $22 blades with castor oil when they started streaking at the 4-month mark. That was 14 months ago. Those same blades are still on my truck. They still wipe clean without chattering. I reapply a thin coat of castor oil to the blade edge every 3 months, which takes about 60 seconds per blade. 14 months on a set of wiper blades that I would normally have replaced twice by now. That is $44 saved on 1 pair of wipers alone. Now, before you try this, you need to hear what I am about to tell you, because the wrong oil will destroy rubber instead of restoring it. Mistake number 1. Using petroleum-based oils. Motor oil, WD-40, brake fluid, or any petroleum distillate will swell and weaken rubber compounds. Petroleum oils attack the polymer chains directly, causing the rubber to soften excessively, lose structural integrity, and eventually disintegrate. Castor oil is a vegetable-based triglyceride that is chemically compatible with rubber polymers. It plasticizes without degrading. Never use petroleum products on rubber. Ever. Mistake number 2. Applying over a dirty or silicone-coated surface. Silicone spray creates an invisible barrier that prevents the castor oil from penetrating. If you have been using Tire Shine products, you need to remove that silicone layer first with soapy water and scrubbing. Otherwise, you are just oiling the silicone coating and the rubber underneath stays dry. Mistake number 3. Expecting this to restore structurally compromised rubber. Castor oil replaces lost plasticizers. It does not rebuild rubber that has degraded to the point where the polymer chains themselves have broken. If a tire has cracks deep enough to expose the cord beneath the rubber, or if a belt has chunks missing, or if a seal has torn, the rubber is beyond conditioning. Replace it. This method works on surface drying, cosmetic dry rot, early-stage cracking, and hardened rubber that has lost flexibility but still has its structural integrity intact. If you can see threads or fabric through the cracks in a tire, that tire needs replacing regardless of what anyone tells you. Have you ever noticed that the tire industry has a concept called age-related replacement that says tires should be replaced every 6 years regardless of tread depth or condition? Think about why that recommendation exists. Not because rubber stops working after 6 years, because the plasticizers in modern tire compounds start evaporating after 3 to 4 years, causing surface cracking by year 5 or 6 that makes the tires look unsafe. If every tire owner knew that a $3 bottle of castor oil could extend the useful life of those tires by several more years, the replacement cycle would collapse. Mistake number 4. Using silicone spray and thinking it does the same thing. Silicone spray is the biggest scam in the automotive care aisle. It makes rubber look shiny and new for about 2 weeks. It does absolutely nothing to restore flexibility or replace lost plasticizers. The silicone sits on the surface as a film. It does not penetrate. When it wears off, the rubber underneath is exactly as dry and cracked as it was before you sprayed it. The industry sells millions of cans of silicone spray every year to people who think they are conditioning their rubber. They are polishing a corpse. And mistake number 5. Waiting until the rubber is visibly cracked before treating it. Castor oil works best as preventive maintenance, applied to healthy rubber before the plasticizers have fully evaporated. Treating your tire sidewalls, door seals, and wiper blades once every 3 to 4 months with a light coat of castor oil prevents the drying from ever happening. The cost is essentially zero over time, a few cents per application, and it can double or triple the useful life of every rubber component on your vehicle. So, let me put this in real numbers. The average vehicle owner replaces tires every 4 to 5 years at a cost of $600 to $1,000 per set. Wiper blades twice a year at $20 to $40 per pair. Door and trunk seals occasionally at $50 to $150 each. Over 10 years in one vehicle, that is somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000 on rubber replacement. Castor oil treatment costs about $3 per year in materials. Over 10 years, that is $30. Even if the oil extends the life of your tires by just 2 additional years and saves you 1 set of replacements, you have saved $600 to $1,000 on that single item alone. Add in the wiper blades, the seals, and the gaskets, and the 10-year savings is easily between $1,000 and $3,000 per vehicle. That is not pocket change. That is a set of tools. That is a weekend trip. That is money the tire industry was counting on extracting from you every 4 years for the rest of your driving life. Now you know how to restore any rubber permanently for $3. No mechanic, no replacement parts, no silicone spray that shines on the outside and lets the rubber die on the inside. Next week, I am going to show you a $2 method that stops squeaky door hinges, sticking locks, and frozen latches permanently, using a compound the hardware industry has been hiding behind $30 specialty products. Hit subscribe so you do not miss it. And the video on screen right now shows another method the auto industry has been quietly burying for decades. Click it.